So today is going to be a very introductory video, especially for those that are either beginning to tie flies or if you're thinking about tying flies. This is the very, very, very first step, and so hopefully I can show you a few things that you'll find helpful during the video. What we have right here in all of its glory is the vise, and the vise is really your foundation for tying your flies. This is the thing that's going to hold your hook in place while you tie your flies, so it's going to hold it nice and tight in place, and that'll allow you to do all the things that you want to do with tying on materials and your knots and everything. So this is really the centerpiece, and there are lots of different kinds of vises. They run the gamut all over the place, but they all still have the basic function, which is to hold the fly in place, or the hook in place, while you're tying your fly. In this particular case, I'm using a vise that's a rotating vise, which I do like using a rotating vise. It's certainly not essential, and you can obviously see why it's called that. If I have my hook coming out right here, and I'm tying on my material, I might be doing this with my material to wrap it around the shank of the hook, which is fine. But sometimes you don't want to do that, and you'll want to use your rotary device and hold your material. Just instead of rotating it, you're going to hold your material up like this, and then you're going to rotate your vise, and then you'll just kind of move your material down. So I do like using a rotating vise thing that is on my vise. And again, I'm trying to guide folks towards the things that are really useful, and this is just something that I find really useful. It may not be useful for you as you tie flies, but I use this all the time, and this is what's called a bobbin cradle. It's actually, you can't see it, but it's attached to my vise itself, and basically it allows me to dangle my bobbin over here on the end while I work on other things on my fly, and I'll show you that to you in one of my other videos. Our hook, and I've just got a barbless hook here, and you're going to get started in the vise here like that. And this particular vise, one of the things that I do like about it a lot is the tip here is magnetic, which allows me to kind of move the hook around while it's not yet completely clamped down, which I find is really nice. But regardless of which vise you have, all of them are going to have this little knob down here, which is going to be your lever that is going to lock this thing in place, right? So you'll see I'm going to click it just like that. That just locked that hook into place. No more moving whatsoever. So that's going to stay right exactly there. This is typically how I, depending on what kind of fly I'm tying, that's how I'm going to position my hook. Probably a little bit more of the point sticking out than what I would usually like. And most commonly, you're going to want the shank of the hook to be kind of parallel to the ground. I've not been overly successful with that, but and you'll find as you're tying, you'll want to possibly shift your fly around, or your hook around while you're tying, depending on what you're trying to do. And you can see it's really a fairly straightforward, simple operation to reposition your hook in your vise like that. When I first started tying, I thought, okay, everything is, you start and there's no going back, and that includes you put your hook in the vise and you leave it there until you tie your fly off and you're done. And that's not really the case. So I'm just going to take it, let my bobbin drop down over the other side like that, and I've now actually got it somewhat attached, so you can see if I pull up and down, it's kind of like a yo-yo, but it is on the shaft of the hook. The end that I have in my hand here is called what we call the tag end. This is going to be the end we cut off. It's also going to be what we're going to be tying it up against this hook here as we secure our thread to the hook to begin the process of tying a fly. So here we go again. Got my bobbin, I let it drop over, then from here, now I'm going to start just going over this tag end here. I'm going towards the back or the bend of the hook, and basically what's happening is my bobbin is actually wrapping over the top of this tag end, which is going to just secure your thread in place, right? So there you go. I can just get my scissors here, clip it off, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to tie fly, and that thread's not going in. Okay, so here's another look at me just getting my thread started. I wanted to do one more at a quicker pace, so that I've been going really slow just to show everybody how to do things. But one additional hint when you're attaching your thread and securing it to the hook that I found is to hold my tag end here. You know, that's the end I'm cutting off. Back towards the back of the hook. So I'm going to be holding my tag end here, back towards the back of the hook, but I'm holding it at about a 45-degree angle. And what that does is when I'm making my wraps, it actually almost forces each next wrap to go right next to the one before it. So if you want to keep your wraps pretty close to one another, it's not essential, but it is helpful, and that's a really good way of doing it. So we're just going to back off here really quick, bring my tag end back up, and you can see, you know, I can get that on there pretty quickly. And then we'll just, you know, as usual, we'll just cut off our tag end here, and we're ready to go. But holding that thread, that tag end, this that I just cut off, if you're holding that up at about a 45-degree angle as you're wrapping backwards, the thread will kind of hit it and bounce down and put that next thread wrap right behind the one before it. Okay, so let's do that just one more time. Okay, so we're going to just take this underneath the shank of the hook. I'm going to bring my bobbin up and over and let it fall on the opposite side. You know, kind of reposition my thread here. I'm going to take a couple of wraps there. Then I'm going to start going backwards over the top of my tag. And once I get a couple of wraps over that tag, then I'm going to just let this tag go towards the bend of the hook. And each wrap now that I'm making with the bobbin is actually going over the top of that tag end, securing it into place. So this is how you're going to most commonly start your flies. Getting that thread secure. Here's my tag end. I just cut it off, so I can throw it away. My bobbin's attached now to my hook, and I'm ready for business. So I'm ready to start tying a fly from here. So hopefully you find that these initial steps helpful as you start tying your own flies, or start working with your own vise and bobbin and hooks and everything needed to tie your own flies.